Okay, by the way I'm going, are you happy?
Yeah. We are live.
Okay, cool. So, welcome everyone to this live session. Of course, the aim here is to discuss the budgets, the financial budget that was read to us last afternoon, and what its impact will it have on us, on our daily life, and in our pocket.
Yeah.
And we just here, my good friend and I, just here to talk about from the property ask Ekow perspective.
Yeah.
Our our aim is to help 3,000 purpose-driven entrepreneurs go full-time doing what they love through the power of real estate. And we
Yeah.
want to gradually build this through from now till December 31st, 2026. We should be able to have helped a whole lot of people. And we call
Yeah.
ourselves the legacy builders because that's what we are. And when you build a legacy, you leave wealth behind and it just goes beyond just you. And the
Yeah.
budget is very important to us because it affects everything that we do.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. So to me, as you know, we run a YouTube channel, and as people that as a loyal community builders and legacy builders, been watching. I've just was an employer. Was an employee before becoming an employer, and
Mm.
within 10 years, just being an employee, have been able to build or accumulate over 70 properties, and I basically managed to leave my corporate world and live this kind of life and also mentor a lot of people because of that. And I believe that it's okay to work for someone, but it's not okay to work for money. And the whole aim of
Yeah.
Property Ask Ekow is to help, give people advice in terms of property investing, to help you build success business systems, because people always go, what's the secret? What's the secret? There's no secret.
Yeah.
The secret is
Yeah.
the best systems you have, and and
Yes.
and also to give basic money management skills, because you can be an entrepreneur, but you cannot be a successful entrepreneur if you do not know how to manage money. If you can't build cash flow, positive cash flow, then forget it. Yeah, you can see millions and billions, but you still not going to get anywhere in life. And the budget
Yeah.
plays a critical role in our life. Why is it,
Sure.
as legacy builders, why is this so important to us? And like I said, it's basically how much sense would we be left with in our pocket. And this decision is made by the Minister of Finance. And generally, I'm happy in general with the budget that we've seen. But the conversation that we're going to have is basically also to introduce my good friend, Mr. Pontsho Maphanga, uh, to introduce himself, and then we'll go through. But whoever is watching this must stay tuned to the end of the video or at the end of these discussions, because we're going to give away a prize valued at 50,000 rand. Uh, in form of my masterclass. And at the end of this video, I will explain to you the value that 50,000 rand comes with, the value over the price. And
Mm.
one lucky winner is going to walk away with this. And we're going to take you through the steps and how you enter into the competition and how you're going to win. I think next week on Thursday, the same time, we'll then come live and announce the lucky winner. So,
Yeah.
so without further ado, I'll just ask my good friend to introduce himself.
Thank you, Mr. Echo. So
Thanks.
I go by the name of Pontsho Maphanga. I am currently the head of social media at Avatar Agency. Avatar Agency Group is one of the largest Black-owned agencies in the country, employing over 100 people in all the three big cities, which is Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban. I am also a part-time or full-time real estate investor, and that's how I know Mr. Echo over here. He's a good friend of mine. We work well together, and yeah, I'm actually excited to be on this live, Mr. Echo. I've never really done a YouTube live video or whatnot, so this is pretty exciting, and I am looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, same here. And I mean, there's always a first time for everything. But I mean,
Yeah,
with the knowledge that you have, I'm sure that we're going to impact a whole lot of value to our community as legacy
sure,
builders. So I
sure.
think, to me, I mean, we've heard a lot about the budget. There's a whole lot of commentary about the budget, but I'm going to take it from my own personal journey and my business life, because I'm a person first, a businessman second, and a property lover third, right? So without business, there's no property, and that's why I have those kind of um, alignment when it comes to how I describe myself or how I present myself. But to
Yeah.
me, generally, I'm happy with the budget. I think it's been 23 years coming. And I'll tell you why I say it's been 23 years coming. Because for the first time since 1990, it's the very
Yeah.
first time that we've had a decrease in corporate income tax, right? And
Mhm.
and that's good. And I see the move government is trying to make, because
Sure.
if you look at it properly, the corporate income tax is going to hurt the government or hurt the economy by 2.6 billion, according to the Minister of Finance, right? But
Mhm.
why would
Mhm.
you do that? Maybe someone might ask. To me, I looked at it in two ways, and I see the only two ways that I can think of is, one, the strategy is to boost investments, to bring in
Yeah.
more foreign investment into the country, corporate investment, everything. Then, of course, the economy grows like that because people will be employed. Our unemployment rates here, especially with the youth, as 56%, is ridiculous, and something
Which
needs
is
to be
very
done.
high. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, look, just to add on to what you're saying, Mr. Ekow, looking at the average rate tax, in European countries, I mean, they're sitting at 22.8%. I'm just looking at
Yes,
2018 all the way to 2021, right?
yes,
And I think there's been a decline in terms of the tax rate from 22
mhm,
to around 21.8, and we are sitting on 27, right?
mm,
Look, I am pretty appreciative of the fact that the current finance minister did sort of like, commit to the pledge they made 2 years ago of
mhm.
reducing the rate. But from 28% to 27, is it really much if we are being honest, about things? And you just made a valid point about the unemployment rate of 56%.
Mm.
That's pretty big, But in all honesty, we can speak about the state, we can speak about the budget speech all we want, but government is not going to create jobs, right?
Yeah,
It will continuously have a budget speech after budget speech. With every budget speech, the more expensive our lives become, and it will consistently be like that. And
yeah,
looking at the pandemic and the impact it has,
mm,
looking at the unrest we had about a year ago, and the
yes,
impact has in the economy of the country and unemployment as well.
mm,
I think the unemployment rate is probably way higher than 56% if you just come
yeah,
to think about it.
mm,
Looking at all these events that have taken place. So
mhm,
it's really our responsibility to create jobs, right?
yes,
And hence we are having this conversation today, and that's what makes PAE, or Property as Ekow, exist. We are in the business of building legacy builders, but in a form
yes,
of real estate, right? Because
yes,
and you can add on here, Ekow, if you want. Real estate is considered the third contributing sector in our GDP.
yes,
This is after your fuel levy and everything else and the rest. Real estate is considered the third contributor. So that's why I personally feel we need to tap into that space, especially the middle income earners, because
yes,
if you really think about it, they are the target. We're not talking your low income earners, because I mean, the minister, Enoch, I really like the guy. He said that if you earn anything around 91,000 per annum,
yeah,
he is
yeah,
not going to tax you. But if you
yes,
think about it, that's a 7.5 per month income earner. You know,
yeah,
the target here is middle class, and we all
yes,
fighting and striving to be in middle class. So, do you sit and complain and watch, this sort of like cycle continue for years to years and generation to generation, or do we break that generational curse of some sort? Do we breach
yeah,
that gap? And I think that's why Property Ask Echo exists, where
mhm,
we want to build future leaders. We want to help people and equip people in having the skill to create jobs, right?
yes,
It's time, Mr. Echo, we build businesses where we can hire our unqualified friends and teach them the job.
Yes.
So we combat this unemployment that's currently happening, and it starts at home. It starts in your circle, in your family, in your friends. My good friend Ekow here, when I met him, I remember it was when I just started real estate and I bought my first property, which was the worst mistake, but the best decision ever. And ever since I've known you, I think my portfolio speaks for itself,
Yes.
and I am very confident, and I am 100% behind and endorsing Property Ask Ekow in its journey and mission to develop, future legacy builders. And I
Yes.
think, we just need to be realistic. The fact of the matter is, with every budget speech, if you look at the past 3-5 years, the more expensive our lives become,
For
and
sure.
we can't run away from it.
Yes. Yes. No, no, you're right. And I like that. And why does our life or cost of living increases with every single budget that comes? And the question, the answer is simple: inflation,
Yeah,
because it's rising prices. So you need to somehow benchmark or link or to that inflation. And I
yeah,
like the fact that you've mentioned this, because the tax breaks that been given to the middle income earners, to me, and which is in line with inflation at 4.5%, is great, right?
mm,
So to me, I see that move to say, okay, we shielding, or the government is now looking at shielding people who pay personal income levies from the so-called bracket creep, right? And to me, that's cool, because what does it do as legacy builders? Again, if that guy is working, it releases the guy, he gets some extra income,
yeah,
and the fact that that's also linked to no increase in fuel levies and RA funds, right?
yeah,
Which then also makes it very good, because it leaves a couple of cents in that individual's pocket, right? And once you've done that, then that's what we come in and say, what are you doing with the cents that you're saving?
yeah.
Because let me tell you something, Mr. Poncho, and I know I've said this to you several times. Do you think putting your money in the bank is going to make you richer or wealthy? Forget about it. That's not going to happen. You need to
Mm,
put your money in asset that generates and that's linked to inflation. And
yeah,
property is one of the assets that consistently links to inflation. Why? Because
yeah,
even during the pandemic, there's still rental increase that happened. Yes, on average, it was about 4% on average, compared to the usual 7% average year on year. But
mm,
the most important thing is that there's something linked to inflation.
mm,
Rental prices increase year on year. Why
yeah,
do I love property? And why do I love this budget that the minister has put forward? Is because property is shelter, and when you leave, you can make good money as you live and be comfortable and live nice,
mm,
but at the same time, you leave a legacy behind. And
mm,
if you then look at Johannesburg,
mm,
Johannesburg is 131 years old. Johannesburg, right? There's a building in Johannesburg which is 131 years old. Do you think that the owner of that building is alive? They've passed on. What is the
yeah,
average age in South Africa? So you know that the owners have passed on, but somebody is collecting rent every single day. And that
yeah,
person's father or mother toiled for that and sacrificed for that. And
yeah,
hence, my personal mission of educating people about, basic money management skills.
sure,
Basic money management skills. Because
sure,
once you've got that, then you go for shelter. And the
yeah,
most important thing is that, you see, it's 56% youth unemployment. It's youth, underline the adjective, youth unemployment. That means, like you said, that's it's probably more than that, right?
mm,
But the point is, this economy and the population is growing. More than
yeah,
60% of this population is sitting in the youth bracket.
sure,
That means if you find a way to provide shelter and provide quality shelter, your future is secured
mm,
for a very long time. And you
yeah,
need experts, you need people like us to be able to help you navigate that, right?
yeah.
So
And
now,
And sorry for speaking over you there, Mr. Ekow. And hence the mission with us to create over 3,000 real estate investors, between 2022 and 2026, right? Because and I like what you mentioned about property being necessarily the new way of doing your trading or your cryptocurrency or whatnot. If you don't have that calling, real estate is definitely your calling. You can do real estate even if you have a full-time 9 to 5 job. And that's the
Yes.
beauty of it, Echo, that we have experts like yourself who can coach and teach people how to actually do real estate while you're still maintaining your full-time job, which is one of the things we encourage at Property as Echo, where we never encourage people to quit their jobs in the first year. And Mr. Echo, you
Yes.
can speak and elaborate on this one, whereby we want you to keep your job for security, but at the same time, teach you how to grow your portfolio so you reach a point where you don't need to work money, but money works for you.
Yes, and just to add on that, uh, you have to start somewhere, but you have to have a plan and a destination, and you have to have a strategy to build into that goal, right? Because, like, I worked for 5 years of my life, corporate life, right? But
Yeah,
real estate has made me where I am.
yeah,
I'm sitting at home. I've built a business which is big red, which is fully fledged estate agency affairs board member
yeah,
that's got the fidelity certificate to buy, sell property, manage property on behalf of third parties, and
yeah.
and that's what we're teaching. We're saying that yes, you've got a metric. What are you sitting there doing? You
With
can
your
reach
method.
out to us. We can mentor you to
Mm,
then go in and start making money. The state
yeah,
agency affairs board is in support of this, right?
yeah,
And we need to bring more youth into the system, right? And that's why I love the minister in terms of the 50% tax break he's giving to youth employment incentives, right?
yeah,
So when obviously to the maximum of 1,500 per month, but
yeah,
it's better than nothing. As a
yeah.
corporate, you get some incentive back. What I didn't like about, or what I was expecting the minister to look into, is how do you then incentivize small business, right?
Exactly.
Because the
Yeah,
25% is on the level of large corporates, but what and middle to large corporates? What about the small business, the small individual that's trying to raise something or build something, right? And to
yeah,
me, I was looking at maybe giving a tax break, or putting a threshold in terms of the tax, rates for small businesses and large corporates. So we didn't see that, and to me,
yeah,
that's one of the downside of the budget, because
yeah,
that also incentivized businesses, small businesses coming in to go
yeah.
on and do bigger things.
And employ more people.
Yes.
Just to pause you there, Mr. Echo, we have our amazing team in the background, our Property Ask Echo team, Nola and team. So they are the ones taking care of the comments. If you have any question, you can just type it in our comment section and they will respond to you or notify us. So don't feel some type of way when we reach out to our phones. We're just
Mm.
trying to manage everyone's questions. So, Mr. Echo, there's a question there
Mhm.
in the comment section
Yes.
before we resume and go back to the topic.
Yes.
Someone by the name of Tsameti, I think.
Mhm.
Tsameti Nkuta, right? She's saying, I still find it hard to secure property. So I think maybe just briefly, do you mind, responding to that specific question or sentiment?
Yes. So I think maybe if she could elaborate on that. What does she
Yeah,
mean by she finds hard securing property? Is it because she's got, her credit history is bad, or it's because of affordability? So you've got good credit score. So that's another thing. And people can watch the video. We've got over 100 videos on YouTube. And we've
mhm,
done a lot of videos on credit scoring, how to boost your credit score. We've done a lot of
yeah,
videos, how to get finance from the bank. We've got a
yeah,
lot of videos. So to me, is it an entry point problem that maybe her take home salary is about 10,000 rand, and therefore she's struggling to get the property that she wants?
yeah,
Or, because the question is a bit, or her comment was a bit ambiguous. It's not a bit, specific.
yeah,
So, but it all starts with savings, right?
Yeah.
So, or maybe let me backtrack a bit. It all
Yeah.
starts with a goal, right?
Sure.
And then you have a plan and a strategy to reach that goal. And savings
Yeah.
is a big part of it. So I
Yeah.
said, don't put your money in the bank when we started. But
Yeah.
literally, if you want to buy a property, you probably wouldn't get 100%. And where do you save your money in the bank, but not probably in a 1% call account or something? There's
Yeah.
money market account that will give you a better return. There's a lot of things that you need to look into to give you a better return. But discipline is key.
Yeah.
Delaying gratification is very key, right? And that's what we miss.
Yeah.
And the problem why we miss that, not to delay gratification, is we don't mind our own business. We
Yeah.
minding other people's businesses. You're thinking, what is my next door neighbor going to think of me driving a Yaris? Who cares? Who
Mhm.
cares? Your next door neighbor has more bigger problem than you.
Yeah.
So you're thinking to please people, and that is really bad. And if we can get back, my dad, as I was growing up, used to say something very simple to me. He says, Ekow, you must taste bitter before sweet, and you must cut your cloth according to your size. And that is a West African saying. I'm from Ghana. So you cut your cloth according to your size. You cannot cut a big cloth and you're a skinny guy like me. And this thing is dragging the floor whenever you walk, or dragging the grounds wherever you walk, but you're making it dirty and you're
Yeah.
wasting it, and it
Yeah.
tears apart quickly. So
Yeah.
so so delaying gratification is key. I think
Mm.
maybe if the team can get more information, or if she can, comment
Yeah.
further in terms of how she's struggling, then we can
Yeah.
put her. But again, we've got a free 15-minute consultation that I don't charge for. She can then, leave her numbers or speak directly with the team, and we can have that 15-minute consultation to understand where her struggle with is, and then we can help her build that. But most importantly, she might be a lucky winner. She must watch this conversation till the end, and why not? And if she becomes lucky and she wins the 50,000 masterclass, then masterclass valued at 50,000, then she's gone. She can just get through the nitty gritty. She will get she will personally get access to me. She will learn a
Yeah.
lot, and then hopefully in the next 5 years, maybe she can get 140 properties, as I did it in 10 years with limited mentorship. But
Yeah.
mentorship is key.
Which is something I want to get into. So before I get into your portfolio, Mr. Ekow, and I don't want our conversation to almost sound like an interview, but you are such an interesting character, which I've learned a lot from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I strongly believe that people can learn so much more from you.
Yeah.
And Tameti, I think if you want all your questions to be answered, please reach out to Property Ask Ekow. We have our WhatsApp line, we have our email address. You can just reach out to us, or in the comment section, a lady by the name of Nola will take your details, and we can have a further conversation. So, Mr. Ekow, just going back to the budget speech, the
Yes.
2022 by Mr. Enoch, right?
Yes.
While the budget speech demonstrated a commendable fiscal prudence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I strongly believe that on its own, it will not be sufficient to accelerate the country's growth rate,
Yeah.
which means, us getting to a level where we tackle persistent unemployment and inequality in the country. It will take us a bit of time to
Yeah.
reach that stage, and
Yeah.
it's through job creation by small businesses that we can fight that battle and almost win. So you are someone who inspired me to build my portfolio, and at the moment I'm sitting in a position where in the next coming 8 to 10 years I want to at least have reached a 50 plus property portfolio.
Yes.
You built a 70 plus in a space of 10 years or less. Do
Yeah.
you mind taking us through the process of how you managed to do that? Just briefly, how did you get to that position? Coming from Ghana with nothing to your name. I still remember the motivational story, which really inspires me a lot. You worked as a taxi driver when you arrived, right?
Yes.
Where you actually were part of those low income earners who made less than 91,000 annually, right?
Yes.
How did you manage to build your portfolio to surpass the middle class status and find yourself where you own your own time, money is working for you, and you are a real estate mogul. So just briefly, so that people, the likes of Tameti, can actually understand and know, that this thing is possible, it's doable. You just need to commit yourself to it and make sure that you equip yourself with knowledge, you enroll for the right classes, you speak to the right people. So just briefly, tell us that journey.
Okay, so every single journey begins with a dream, right?
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough to be born in Ghana in an area that were middle class. So both parents were working. My dad is still a teacher because he still teaches me. So I call him a teacher. He's retired. My mom was a secretary, and people living around us, but you can count maybe 5 people were running their own businesses. So I always had that curiosity in my mind. How come this person can, own, or how is this person paying this 10, 20, 100 people? Like, what makes this person so special?
Yeah.
So in my head, I've always been going through that. And I think the light bulb got switched on when my mom said to me that, you know what, I'm not going to buy a car, because I asked my mom a question. Why don't you have a car whilst all the people, your peers in your category or your salary bracket, own vehicles? And she said to me, no, I'm not buying a car until we own this property, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because property is part of the 4 basic needs of human beings. So I think I'm also blessed to be born into that family. But I believe that everybody is born equal. And I'll tell you why. There are certain people that are born in a blessed family or a rich family or something like that. But we all born equal because we all given the same talent, which is the mind.
Yeah.
This is the only asset we have. And I personally see myself as, if I can think of it, if I can dream it, and if I believe in it, I will attain it. And the journey was not easy, Mr. Poncho. The journey was not easy. Being a taxi driver, again, that car was not mine. It was a friend of mine's 21 birthday. Father bought him a vehicle, and I convinced him to give me that car to work for him, or we became partners. So I work during night, and then he takes notes at varsity, and then he teaches me in the library, and that's how I survived. But
Yeah.
but also then gets to that point of integrity and honesty, and the friends you surround yourself with. Because if you do surround yourself with the right people, you'll be able to, that they don't need to give you money, but you need to seek wisdom from people, right?
Yeah.
And just fast forwarding it to the property life, what I've done, again, delayed gratification, delayed gratification, delayed gratification. At some point, I was driving a pink car,
Yeah.
and I was an investment banker, and I was
Yeah.
earning good salary. But the
Yeah.
point is, I took my salary, went into Berea, Hebrew, bought properties for 5,000, 10,000 rent. People were afraid to buy because there was xenophobic attack, because the foreigners was taking over, because the
Yeah.
Jewish people didn't want to be there, because the black people were coming all over like ants. People gave all these stories, and people, even at work, colleagues said, you are mad. Why are you buying in Berea, Hebrew? Right? But they didn't see what I was seeing. And because
Yeah.
I believed, and I did my research, I was
Yeah.
able to tap into that market, right? And that gave me the opportunity, because in Berea, what happens is that, of course, you're not going to get a huge capital appreciation, but you're going to get massive rental income. And what
Yeah.
happens? You package your rental income, you go to the bank and you say, hey, listen, you just gave me 100,000 rent, and you said I must pay you 1,500, but actually, I'm making 3,500. So
Yeah.
I've got 200% more what you're
Yeah.
asking me. Why
Yeah.
don't you then give me more money? And then
Yeah.
it comes on. So every single money I got from the property, what
Yeah.
did I do? I put it back in property.
Yeah.
And then I built the portfolio, and I built the portfolio. And before you realize, you've got property sitting there paid off, that property sitting there paid off. It's a game of monopoly. Before
Yeah.
you realize, all this property put together is a hotel, because
Yeah.
70 apartments or units is not easy. That's a hotel.
Yeah.
And the strategy was that, make sure that you've created your free cash flow. So when I
Yeah.
quit my job, the money, the free cash flow, when I say free cash flow, I'm talking the net income that I was making from my property business was 2 times more than my salary. Actually, 2.5 times more than my salary, right?
Yeah.
But it took 5 years of consistency, 5 years of drinking water at home. Because if I take out that 1,000 rand, I will not be able to pay the bank, or I will not be able to put a deposit down, So it's a lot of sacrifices. At some point, you sit in front of your desk when you wake up in the morning and you literally cry because it's that hard. Real estate investing is very, very hard. We
Just like
make
any
it
other business.
we make it look easy.
Yeah.
And this is why I stress the point that you need somebody that's been there before to
Yeah.
take you through to avoid certain mistakes. I don't
Yeah.
know if I've been able to answer your question to your full satisfaction.
You have Mr. Ekow, and I'm sure even the viewers appreciate it. So having said that, so that's why at Property Ask Ekow, we don't only provide education in real estate investment, but we also provide education in personal finance and entrepreneurship, because we strongly believe that in order for you to be a great business person, a great entrepreneur, you need to have personal finance skills, right?
Yes.
Finance literacy. And
Yes.
you need to also have the background knowledge of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, business
Yes.
management, business law, marketing, and so forth. So the most important element or part of our product offering is personal finance, Mr. Ekow.
Yes.
And before you speak to the importance of personal finance, which is very much linked to budgeting, right? So you always tell me that you need to have a budgeting plan, and I remember at some point in my life I never really had one. You make money, you spend money, you make more money, you spend more money, right? And that's why we live in a world where there's a cycle, Mr. Ekow, whereby we never really had it easy growing up, right? And we work so hard in developing ourselves, building businesses, right? Only to give birth and raise kids who will then lose all of that principle, right? And not know what it takes to work hard for money, because they are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And what then tends to happen, which becomes a life cycle, is they then spend and bring everything down to the ground that you've built. What then happens is they then give birth to a new generation of what the first generation was, right?
Yes.
And that cycle continues. So it's very significant and important that we teach our children personal finance from a very early age. And
Yes.
that's why Property Ask Ekow will embark on a journey where we go to different communities and we have free seminars where we teach people about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and real estate. Ekow, just going back to the budget speech, right? Because you've said a lot about how to get into real estate investment. You've told your story of how you do it, and I must say that real estate investment is an impactful and direct way in which we can contribute to the growth of our economy, right? And I just want to put this into perspective. There is a codependence between GDP and income accumulated, right? And in the wake of COVID-19 and the Omicron variant, right?
Omnicron, yeah.
Omicron, resulting in interest rate decreases. What does that mean for anyone at this moment who wants to get into real estate investment? What does the interest rate decrease mean to anyone who is pretty much listening right now and they're thinking it's so difficult to get into real estate, it's difficult to secure one? What does it mean at this moment?
So what it means is that it puts more money in your pocket, basically.
Yeah.
So if a bank gives you 100 rand and they say to you that in this 100 rand, you're going to give me back 10 rand every single month, or you're going to give me back a rand every single month. Now, because they charge you based on the interest rate, right? So then what you're going to do, when the interest rate drops, the bank has still given you 100 rand, but now what's going to happen is that you're going to give 80 cents back. So you've got 20 cents in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
And talking about that, and therefore that's why it's very critical to have economy that's stable, to have economy that's growing, that's generating income, because the more income economy generates, like what the minister put forward, The reason why we've gotten this tax break is because, right, they've made over 182 billion
Yeah,
over the
which was 62 million or billion
billion
more than the
more that
anticipation in
yes,
November.
yes,
Yeah,
right. So the economy is growing, and therefore they can give you those kind of rebates, right? uh
yeah,
and so when interest rate is low, you can do a whole lot of things. You can buy more properties. You because you've got cheap bank finance. Let me
yeah,
put it that way. And
yeah,
therefore, if you're a smart investor and you've gone through the right mentorship and you understand the technicality and analytics of running, doing your numbers, then you'll
yeah,
be able to then what? Buy property, trade the interest rate. The bank says, hey, give me 100 rand. You find Mr. Ekow to give you 120 rand back, and then you pocket the 20 rand, and that's how you save that money to become bigger. So the lower the interest rate is, it's better for the economy and it's better for the average Joe on the street.
yeah, yeah, 100%. I'm just looking if there's any questions. I don't think there is at any moment at this moment. So, Mr. Ekow, again, back to Property Ask Ekow, right? Just a breakdown of, I totally, get the mantra of building legacy builders, right? And creating legacy builders. What does Property Ask Ekow exactly offer? And how do you go about, being in contact or gaining access to these services?
Okay, so to us, yes, you've said the legacy builders, but the most important thing is the three things, right? Because for you to escape the rat race, maybe let me use that word, to escape
Yeah,
the rat race, there are certain three things I believe that you need to do it well, right?
yeah,
You need to build a business, or you need to build systems. So you need to
mhm,
build business success systems,
yeah,
right? You need to be able to manage your money properly. You need
yeah,
to be able to control your money, not the other way around. And you
mm,
need to be able to put your money in vehicles that's going to beat inflation, right?
yeah,
And therefore, even when the interest rate is up, your asset is still linked or in line with inflation, right?
mhm,
And property gives you that.
mhm.
Property gives you that. That is what I've experienced.
Yeah,
And I don't want to be stingy enough to keep that secret with me. I
yeah,
I, I believe I wasn't brought into this world just to accumulate and go. No.
yeah,
Then I haven't served my purpose. I was brought into this world to be put in a position so that I can experience and manifest to the universe and to God that I believe in, that you are great, and then teach
yeah,
other people and say,
yeah,
if you believe in what you're doing, you can get there,
yeah,
and it doesn't
yeah.
matter where you come from.
And there's a
And
saying
that's
I
what
like.
Property as Echo is about.
Yeah, there's a saying I like, which says, how you measure success is by how many people you bless, is how you should be measuring your success, right?
Yes.
So how many people you develop and sort of like help them break through is
Yes.
how you should be measuring your success, especially during times like now, where life has gotten tougher and tougher, and we see the rise in suicide. I mean, at the present moment, in SA alone, where most young men are taking their lives because of the situation that we are
Mm.
in, where
Mm.
the standard of living is very high. People are
Mm.
in debt, people have lost their jobs. From the entertainment industry, it's even worse, right?
Yes.
As much as your COVID-19 restrictions have been lessened, but things are not yet back to normal like how
Mm.
we know them. And
Mm.
we see a lot of these young artists struggling, taking their lives. Some are divorcing left, right, and center. It's a mess. So I'm a firm believer in, you don't always need to make a living off of what you are good at. Right? Because what COVID-19 has done is it has taught us to reinvent ourselves, like
Mm.
learn how to reinvent ourselves. You may be great at something, whatever it is, but you never really know what might happen tomorrow which
Yes.
might affect your sort of like possibility to carry that out or to do that specific job or art. So
Yeah.
that's why we are, brand advocates of real estate investing or property as Ekow, where we want to build a new set of influencers who are legacy builders, right?
Yes.
We have all kinds of influencers at this present moment, Mr. Ekow, who portray this glamorous, amazing life, on social media, because that's what it's for, right? It's social media, and television and all of that. So the media in general, where people are under pressure, you find young people that are putting themselves under pressure based on what they see on social media. But at the same time, yes, it's sad to see what's happening, where things are almost coming to the public eye, where things are being revealed. We're seeing the real struggles of these so-called celebrities and whatnot. And I think it's such a great thing, as painful and hurtful as it is. But it's an eye opener to say you need to focus on yourself. You said something about minding your own business, right? And that's the first principle. You need to mind your own business. Focus on yourself, on
Yes.
developing yourself. There's no point in sitting in a corner complaining about the government, complaining about your history, your past. We all come from somewhere. We've all had to break through something. So you need to find a way to reinvent yourself. Never say I don't know something. There's Google. There's institutions such as ourselves, Property Ask Ekow, where you can learn. For close to nothing. Mr. Ekow, if you look at a smoker, a smoker smokes about 1 or 2 cigarettes a day, and a
Yeah.
cigarette costs 2 rand 50, 3 rand. I don't know. I have never smoked. I don't smoke. But
Yes.
when you calculate that money monthly, it's equivalent to 300, 500, which is how much some of our classes cost.
Yes.
For example, real estate for beginners, it's only 500 rand. So
Yes.
you can save that kind of money. You can invest that kind of money, because self-development is dependent on thyself, on yourself, right? When you look at soccer stars, the likes of your Ronaldo, they do not depend on the club's training programs and activities in order for them to be great. They invest outside all of that. They invest the time in polishing, their dream, polishing their skill, and making sure that they reinvent themselves and they develop themselves. And that's the attitude we all need to have. Right? It's all good
Yes.
and well to be out there in the social media streets. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business person, but are you actually making profit? Do you actually operate and run a business? Let's be real, and we need to get into a point where we grow our businesses to a magnitude where we can employ people. You look at the likes of Avatar, employing over 100 people, and that's inspirational for me. We need to reach those heights where we create jobs. And in real estate, Mr. Ekow, you can agree with me, we create so many jobs. I mean, we're talking from development of the property all the way to the management of the property. So you continue creating jobs, and I'm not just talking short-term jobs. I'm looking at the 18 billion that was invested in infrastructure, in the name of boosting youth employment. But
Yes.
let's be honest, is that really benefiting small businesses, or does that mean it's only going to state-owned entities, and the cycle continues itself where it never really gets to a point where small businesses benefit? So we need to get to a point where we ourselves empower ourselves enough that we can beat any system, we can beat any red tape that's put in front of us,
Yes.
and we can break through.
Yes.
I'm just looking if there's any questions. We are running a bit out of time. So Tameti is saying it is advisable to pay lump sum to finish your bond, or better to invest the money and let the bond run its term. That's a question.
Okay. So it depends, right? So there's something that Robert Kiyosaki said in his book that I read. I think it's the Cash Flow Quadrant, or one of his Rich Dad Poor Dad books. And he asked the question: is owning a property an asset or a liability? Right? And then I would link it back to her question, whether paying a lump sum good or bad. It depends on what you're going to do with that property, right?
Yeah.
I the the 5 basic income streams I teach in the Property Ask Ekow class is leveraging to invest with property.
Yeah.
and one of it, and that's aligned to what she's asking.
Yeah.
Because if you invest in, if I'm buying the property and I'm going to put it out for rental, why must I rush paying it off?
Yeah.
Now interest rate is low. This is the time that I need to fix my interest rate over the duration of my bond, which is 20 years or whatever, 10 years if it's a business, if you bought it in the name of a business, or 15 years, depending on how you structured your deal. But 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 once you've done it like that, remember, again, it's actually letting me jump the gun in terms of the videos that people need to watch for the competition. But that is one of the videos I did in my text video, the
Yeah.
benefits of the tax benefit of real estate investing, right?
Yeah.
Because I get a tax deductible income from the tax man.
Yeah.
So when you're buying to invest, when you get a loan, if you leverage off with the bank's money, you are in a better position because the interest the bank is charging is
Yeah.
tax free, it's tax deductible.
Yeah.
But if you're buying to stay in, right, and then you want to pay it off lump sum, that's fine, right? Because it's your family home.
Yeah.
Because there's no benefit you're going to get from the tax man except your your capital gain tax,
Yeah.
right? When you sell the property, or those kind of things, those relief, right? And all the expenses is paid by you. So that I can advise you and say, depending on what strategy you're using. But if you're going in for investment, if you can get 1 billion from somebody to do it, the saying of use other people's money to make money, it's basically use the bank's money to make money. Leverage of the bank's money. That's one
Yeah.
of the things. Yeah.
And that's one skill you've taught me, and I would really advise anyone that's currently watching to visit the Property Ask Ekow YouTube channel, and you can learn more. And if you want to take it further, you can reach out to Nola, and she will help you with the process. Tsameti is saying, thank you. That is a great response. The rental example makes sense to me, which is great. And Clementi, these are
It's
the
a
types
pleasure.
of learnings that we teach at Property Ask Ekow. So, Mr. Ekow, just looking at time, and I
Yes.
am not sure how much time we have.
Yeah.
I don't have sight of what the team is saying in the background. Just to close it off, my ultimate thing is, and sentiment is, that you need to make peace with the fact that with every budget speech, the more expensive your life will
Yeah.
become.
The cost of
Right?
living will rise
It
because
will forever
inflation.
rise, and
Yes.
we need to make peace with that. So join us on this journey of creating over 3,000 real estate investors in the next 5 years by getting in touch with us. It does not matter what job you do, what income bracket you're in. We teach anyone and everyone, young and old, how to invest in property, in real estate investment. So,
Yes.
just in closing, Mr. Ekow, do you mind then taking us through what the 50,000 Rand masterclass covers?
Okay. So a lucky winner will get 50,000 in value and in price, right? And but the value of it is that we're going to take you through pre-investment concept. That pre-investment concept alone, cost on its own is valued at eight triple nine, right? On
Wow.
top of that, we'll take you through our complete masterclass, and we're going to teach you an introduction to rental income property
Yeah.
analysis. How do
Yeah.
you go about? How do you understand? How do you price the property? The
Mhm.
technique I use to buy properties, the 80-20 technique, we go
Yeah.
further into it. How do you then you refinance your property with your rental income? So those are the things that we're going to go through, and that alone it's valued at 3,999,
Yeah.
13,999. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then we also take you to a complete guide to analyzing single family rents, because there are different class of rentals, right? And again, if you want to do it in the location, what kind of strategy are you using? So
Yeah.
we'll take you through that. That cost alone is sitting at 12 999. And then
Yeah.
on top of it, the final one that you need to get to, you need to understand how to put the financials together. We'll take
Yeah.
you through property financial model.
Yeah.
How do you present your business case to the bank? How do
Yeah.
you then go to the bank and say, this is my portfolio, this is
Yeah.
what I've done in the past 3 years, this is
Yeah.
how much I'm looking for? And the bank
Yeah.
says, wow, you great, I'm gonna back you with this deal, as opposed to you don't really have this, you don't really have that. We're going to fast track you through that process so that when you get there, you are properly ready. And this
Yeah.
is going to be won by one lucky winner. And
Yeah.
and this is the value you get out of this.
And that's amazing. That's amazing. So if I were you, I would just wait 5 more minutes. We are about to announce the question, which uh, gives you the opportunity to stand a chance of winning the 50,000 rand. There's a question coming in, Mr. Ekow.
Yes.
Good evening. It's from Bongani Bob. Good evening. Can one build long-term wealth through property investing? Definitely.
Yes.
Even with lack of capital, you do not need capital.
Yes.
And I think the one thing that needs to work for you is your credit scoring, right? That's one
Yes.
thing you work on. And I do remember, in my experience when I was still in varsity, my father taught me to sort of like grow my credit score by taking up accounts. I had all kinds of accounts. I had
Mm,
Edgar's, I had Markham's, I had Mr. Price, all kinds
mm,
of accounts. And I would really just take clothing and repay it back. Clothing that I know I can afford to buy. I mean, it's Mr.
yes.
Price, but
Yes.
pay it monthly just so I grow my credit score. So
Yes.
I think maybe that's something maybe we can speak to in 2 minutes before we close. How to build your credit score, the pros and cons of building your credit score so that it works in your favor when you go for financing.
Okay, so that also I've done a video called "How to Boost Your Credit Score," right, on the YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
people can watch that. But how do you build your credit score? Building your credit score is how you take care of your money, basically.
Yeah.
And there's something my dad taught me, and my mom also, hammered that in me in a very good way, is that you earn your respect.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. Money will respect you if you respect that money,
True.
right? And that's something that will take you through the course. That's something that will teach you how to get the money to respect you. How do you
Yeah.
get the money to grow? And once you've done that, your credit score will also going to be aligned, because you can have a perfect credit score, but you might not have the affordability. And those
Mhm.
are the two combinations
Yeah.
that we train you to have the balance of it, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
you can build wealth through, I mean, statistically, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
Over 60% of the world billionaires
Yeah.
became billionaires through property investing. Over
Yeah. Listen.
60%.
Yeah. Even your rappers, your Jay-Z's, your G-Eazy's and
Even
them, they
billionaires is far.
are.
Over 60% of the world millionaires have
Yeah.
become millionaires through property investing. There's
True.
no proper billionaire that that doesn't. Oprah Winfrey, it's heavily invested in property. Jay-Z,
Yeah.
heavily invested in property.
Yeah.
Uh, name it. uh, Motepe, even our own president Ramaphosa, heavily
Yeah.
invested in property. McDonald's is real estate. So
Definitely.
so 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 there's no billionaire or millionaire I know that doesn't own heavy, at least 20% or 15% of their portfolio is made out of property. Because you
Yeah.
know why? It is the only tangible asset that is readily available to be left behind for generational purposes.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So, Mr. Bob, the answer is you can definitely build long-term wealth through property investing. It's
Yes,
possible. You can do it.
if she wants to learn more, yes,
Yeah,
so free 15 minutes consultation. You can
sure.
come through and we can discuss that. Yeah.
Definitely. Nola will take your details. So, in closing, right now is the time for us to reveal the question, which you need to answer and answer correctly in order for you to win the 50,000 Rand masterclass. So, Mr. Ekow, what's the question?
So the question is, how much did I claim as a deduction on my rental income? Right?
Okay.
And for you to be able to get to that answer, you basically have to watch my video that I did on tax benefit of real estate investing, right? And the lucky winner will be announced next Thursday, same time. And there's more. I mean, we've gone through the value pack of the 50,000 class or master class, or how what it entails. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to go back into that. But
Yeah.
what we want to say is that we need to also, people must also, of course, watch the video, like the video, and share the video to be able to and answer that question, then to be able to then be eligible to winning that masterclass. And what we also want to say to people is that it doesn't matter where you are, even if you're a beginner or if you're a middle tier or if you've been through and you're thinking this property thing is not for me, we can
Yeah.
have a chat. And
Yeah.
there's always room for somebody. There's always something for someone in the
Yeah.
property market. The thing is that it's more than enough for everyone. The
Yeah.
opportunities are in abundance, and it's
Yeah.
more than enough for everyone. So the more people come in, the better it is
Yeah.
for the economy.
So sorry to interject there, Mr. Ekow. So I see Tameti is asking, where do we send the answer? You comment with your answer in our comment section, and our team will basically go through all the answers, do the shortlisting and the vetting and everything. Please don't forget to use our hashtag legacy builders, hashtag legacy builders. So this is open to everyone in the country. I mean, with the
Yes,
new normal, we are able to carry out our classes virtually, our mentorship, our consultations virtually. So it's open for everyone in and around South Africa. So
yeah,
anyone and everyone in the country can reach out to us. And yeah, let's get working. Let's start the journey of building legacy builders.
yes.
So thank you so much. Can I please ask the team to type the question again in our comment section so that people that probably missed the question can see the recap of the question. And Mr. Ekow, please repeat the question again.
How much did I claim as a deduction on my rental income?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the video is tax benefit of investing in real estate
You can find the video on our
on our
YouTube channel,
YouTube channel. Yes.
Property Ask Ekow
Echo.
channel, the one you are streaming from. So thank
Yes.
you so much, Mr. Ekow. I think this was a great conversation. I've been looking forward to this conversation all week, and I really hope that people found it informative and educative, or edutaining for that matter.
Yes.
Taboti is saying, please repeat the name of the video to watch.
The tax benefit of real estate investing.
Okay. It's also typed in our comment section there. If you want to see the name of the video, you can go there.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ekow, I don't know if you have any closing remarks for me.
So
That's it from
so
my side. Thank you so much.
so to me, in closing, I think the question now is, what is it then in for a property investor, right?
Yeah.
The text that we've spoken about and we've reviewed it. And to
Yeah.
me, the comfort I get from it is that because interest rate is still low and there's no increase in fuel levies and the road accident fund levies, you then have more money in your pocket. And therefore, as a middle income earner, you need to look into property. And
Yeah.
and but the downside I didn't like is that there was no adjustment made to transfer duties, which to
Yeah.
me, now
Yeah.
if you look around, the entry level of property on average is 1 million, and they
Yeah.
still kept it there. So it means that the higher end will then suffer, and that will then also kind of hamper the economic growth as a whole. But with
Yeah.
that said, I'm very, very happy with the text. I'm very, very happy with the rebates that we've gotten. I'm happy with the future even though the GDP growth rate at 1.8% on average is not really a good indicator, because
Yeah.
5 years ago, the anticipation was that we're going to be reaching at about 4.5%. So,
Yeah.
and this is why the need for this conversation, so that we can build this. The aim of Minister Enoch Godengwana is to create job. That's what I got from his to reduce cost of doing business, which is great. Which I think that it's only to reduce cost of doing business with a large corp, which then needs to come down to the smaller, small scale business, and build competitive economy. Because if
Yeah.
the money is coming in, we can compete. But
Yeah.
again, if we get in proper tax rebate for small businesses, we can even compete bigger or better with the giants, and the country grows as a whole. And that is the aim. And that's why we are on this journey to create 3,000 purpose-driven entrepreneurs to go full-time, doing what they love through the power
Yeah.
of real estate investing.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Ekow, for the chat. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed myself. And I really hope that everyone learned something, and this discussion has sparked something in their spirit to start chasing their dreams and start investing today, rather, now than later. The earlier you start, the better.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ekow. I will catch you on the other side. I am looking forward to next week, where we announce the lucky winner, and we will document their journey so that everyone and anyone can actually see the journey and the processes that goes into developing a real estate investor. With that being
Yeah.
said, thank you, and you must have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Don't forget to share this with your anyone that you believe that has the spirit of entrepreneurship, has the spirit of getting out of whatever and
Yeah,
position that they're in, and to break the rat race, has the spirit to do good for the nation. Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Cheers.